This video is sponsored by the Ryan Rambles channel members and my supporters on Patreon. Actually, supporter. There's only one, so thank you. A lot of people became K-pop fans during the pandemic, but I got even deeper into Francis M. I guess because of the song Who Can You Trust? And at the time it was like a lot of we were battling with a lot of fake news because as we were stuck at home, we were aggressively on social media, right? And because we were doing that, fake news became so rampant, and I felt so frustrated with fake news, especially stuff about the Marcoses. There was so much disinformation going around, which led to him winning the presidency, right? But I found this Francis M song called "Who Can You Trust," and he actually raps about how his experiences with martial law and talking about how sick this dictator was.
In the dead of night, never to see the light of day. Student activists were buried in an unmarked grave. No freedom of speech, the people took it to the streets. They were frothing at the mouth like a rabid dog on the leash. Companies were overtaken, shut down the TV stations. I know you can't relate, but that was the state of our nation. Society in general was cowering in fear of the hands of a dictator for 21 years. Ashes to ashes.
And because of that, I kind of came out of retirement and released a little bit of a Duterte diss. 24 bars challenge was a big thing, so I used it to talk about whatever I was feeling.
Do not challenge government. Matatalo kayo. Sigurado.
24 bara. Oh my God, I gotta spit. Kung nandito man si Kiko, siya na nga ang kakabit. Pilipinas, Mindanao, Visayas at Luzon. I'm ready to defend the 3 stars in the sun, so you can find me in the streets. Shoot me with a gun. I'm a kid from Katipunan and I'm never gonna run. Yeah, I guess from there, I would get into more Francis M. Of course, Bagsakan, which since I was so bored, I spent a couple maybe months memorizing. Just on the off chance that someday I would be at a parokya concert and they were like, oh, sinong may kaya sa part ni Kiko? And I'd be like, oh, me. And this is all in my head, right? Like imagining me on stage and rapping to Bagsakan. So yeah. I also found an album of his. It's called The Adventures of Mr. Cool, which unfortunately isn't on Spotify for some dumb reason. But yeah, the songs are the coolness.
I wanna rock when I want to, when you want it to, but when you wanna groove, just for you I'll make it smooth and crisp and clean, just like San Miguel Super Drive with the live now, just like John Travolta staying alive.
And old school.
There are places that I remember when I was a kid. I used to play in the streets and climb trees. Yeah, that's what we did. With my friends, be playing ball without no shirts on, with rubber slippers under the sun from dusk to dawn.
But there's one song from the album that is on Spotify. It's called Whole Lotta Lovin', which samples dun, 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 dun. Oh my god, which samples Alapaap. And at the same time, while people were getting obsessed with Korean culture, I was getting deeper and deeper into Filipino culture. So more Filipino music, but also Filipino films. I was obsessed with Lino Broca, Ishmael Bernal, Becky Galiaga, all these really great Filipino filmmakers. And I would finally see myself represented on screen. Not in the sense where they talked about my problems, but just talking about the state of my country today. And the fact that these films were made in the 1970s, 1980s, I don't know, it just blew my mind that things are still the same, that nothing is different. And it kind of inspired me to make a difference. I guess shout out to them. They're still my heroes today, and their films made me who I am today and convinced me to take on this mission of trying to make the country better, or trying to open the eyes of people who are, I don't know, who are blind, who I feel like they're asleep. It's honestly better in Filipino, diba? Napakahalaga ang pagmumulat ng mata, pagising sa mga natutulog. I guess because I felt so strongly after watching their films, something clicked in my head and I realized that, hey, culture is the answer. Films, music, art is the answer. Art will help people see the truth. I asked Zild Benitez of Four of Spades. I asked him what the role of art is today in this era of fake news and disinformation, and he said something really interesting. In this time na di ba, ang daming fake news, disinformation, ano yung role ng music or ng art?
Feeling ko napapagaan niya yung message.
Mm-mm.
Kasi minsan nagiging close-minded ang tao pag hindi na agad bias sa gusto nila. Kunyari, gusto ko fried chicken, hindi, masasarap ang steamed chicken. Pero siguro kung lagyan mo na onting advertisement, music, design,
Oo.
medyo nagiging open-minded yung isang tao. Kasi
Tama, tama.
may facade eh. Ayaw kasi ng tao yung parang dinuduro-duro mo sila na mali ka.
Tama.
Human nature yun eh. So feeling ko yung music, para siyang makakatagos deep on a deeper sense.
Tama.
Subconsciously. Oh.
Oh, para siyang like let's say may ina-advertise na pizza pero babaeng naka-swimsuit yung nakahawak ng pizza.
Tama.
Parang
Same.
that's the way na napupuntahan mo. Astig. Okay.
Tama. Ang galing mo dun ah. Tama yun.
Let's make the tone a little bit lighter because as I was watching, movies by these amazing directors, I also saw a much lighter film called Baguettes, which is, I think, my dad's favorite Filipino movie. My mom loves this movie also, and it has a killer soundtrack. Can you explain it?
Gilbert was swimming, and then one of the boys, I think it was
Tonton.
Yeah, Tonton.
There's like a wave, and then the sharks fly away.
And then Tonton discovers that Herbert is still uncut.
Kind of like scuba diving, and he goes up and he's like, "Support."
What ka?
And the scene was just so weird for me.
Kasi Herbert Bautista, growing up, was my mayor.
Yeah.
High school and college, he was the person pag umuulan, we were like, "Oh, Papa Herbs, please suspend classes."
Walang pasok.
So growing up, this is my idea of him. And then I saw him in his tiny whitey brief talaga.
White brief. That big.
And, like all these jokes about his penis, and it's Herbert Bautista. So his friends leave him, of course, because what are they gonna do? And they buy some buko, and there's this buko salesman.
Oh, it's
An
Bembo
amazing
Rocco.
cameo.
Yeah, Bembo Rocco.
Except the buko, but then apparently it's his head pala.
And he's one of the best actors of the 70s, right?
Yeah, 70s,
70s, 80s.
yeah, won several Best Actor awards.
He was in Maynila's Uwa ng Liwanag.
Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you want to see more content like this, you can check out The Music of My Life, out now on Spotify. You'll be able to hear background stories about my favorite songs, but you'll also be able to actually hear the songs on Spotify. Part 1 is from 1997 until 2011, and then Part 2 is from 2012-ish to the pandemic, but flip-flopping some throwback hits in there somewhere. Again, thank you so much to my channel members and my Patreon supporters, but especially to the Mother Lily members, Ashley Martelino and Mom Gay Ace Domingo. You guys rock. You're so awesome. And if you want to support me, you can do so. Click that join button, or you can join on Patreon. Whichever works for you is fine with me, but there's so much more I can do on Patreon. I have a weekly podcast there, behind the scenes pictures and videos, and there's even a script that I just wrote that I just posted there yesterday. Can't really do that on YouTube, so if you want to get more from me, Patreon's the best place. But again, whichever works for you is perfectly fine. But until next time, peace, and I love y'all.
Hoy mga Pinoy, ito na ang medisina. Nagbabagong apoy, linagyan ng gasolina. Kaya't tinatanong pa ba kung kanino at sino ang tiyak na puntahan sa kulturang Pilipino? Ako na ang sagot, ang dakilang gamot.